Five, four, three, two, one. Hi, I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. I have a very, to me, I guess, very interesting topic today called art versus science. Now, this is, oops, I forgot to, there you go, over there. Not the right window. Ugh, the window changed on me. It's so interesting how this all works. There we go. Things pop around all over the place, and it's very difficult to keep them under control. I know you think this guy's got it together, but not all the time. So, one of the things I was doing was I was looking at this. This is what got me going: marketing talent, striking a balance between creative and technical, which was a pretty good article by Jennifer Harvey. Unfortunately, her name is too common for me to find her on LinkedIn. So if you know Jennifer, please let her know that I talked about this. Okay, so I'm not seeing the comments today, and I'm not sure quite why. Let's see if I've got. Oh, there. Now I got it. Yeah, I used different windows today, and it got all messed up. And I apologize. Part of it was I wanted to show you something. Okay, so let's tell the story. Let's focus a bit. I was working with musician's friend, and they had a PhD statistician, Matthew Shaw, and he's a really nice guy, and I really like him, and we got to be friends. And unlike the other PhD statisticians that I've had the chance to work with, Matthew liked the outdoors. He was married and had a regular life and was a regular guy you could talk to about sports or other regular things. Okay. And so we got to be friends. One day I said to him, Matthew, you're not like other PhDs that I know. Why? What's up with you? And Matthew said, well, what brain injury did you have as a child? Okay. And I said, Matthew, I said, what makes you relatable? And, I get what you're talking about. And he said, what brain injury did you have as a child? And I didn't get what he was talking about. And so I said, okay, back up the truck. We got to sort this out. And he said, when I was 3.5, he said, my dad decided I should not be left-handed. And so he tied my left hand behind my back and forced me to use my right hand until I was pretty much right-handed. And he said, if you cracked my head open, I believe that I would have more hemispheric connections between my right and left brain than average. I said, okay, that's interesting. He said, so what brain injury did you have as a child? I said, well, now that you mention it, at 3.5, I had encephalitis, and they told my parents that I would probably never be able to ride a bike, or, and I used to throw up when I went on a merry-go-round and stuff when I was very little. And but I overcame it and became a freestyle skier and other things that require pretty extraordinary balance and physical coordination. And he said, there you go. So he said there was a very definite clinical history of people with some mild brain injuries being affected this way. So anyway, a couple weeks later, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was the accountant at a large mail order company, and he was he got put in charge of merchandise selection. He didn't do it, but he was supposed to oversee the people that did it. And he said, I don't know anything about merchandise selection. That seems to be, it was a jewelry company, never even more so, which, I can do some merchandise selection, but I don't think I'd be much good at jewelry or makeup. Anyway, he said, I'm just a numbers guy. I'm purely a numbers guy. I don't understand why some products sell and some products don't. Why would they do this to me? And then he went on to say, my son does art and does math. And so I said to him, well, what brain injury did he have as a child? And because I do obviously I'm a creative genius here, but I'm doing analytical statistics on the other screen. I could bring it up and show you. Let me show you just for a second. See if anything comes up. I don't know if anything comes up, but anyway, yeah. Here's all the shade and the validation. That's not working. Let's hit exit. Anyway, this is you're not going to see the secret sauce there, but that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the creative stuff here and the numbers on the other tab. And he said, "Huh?" He said, "Oh." So then he said, "Well, what are you talking about?" So I said, "Well, as a kid, I had encephalitis, and I said, and it's an infection of the brain fluid, like meningitis in your brain." And he said, "Oh, I know what it is. At 3.5, my son had encephalitis." And his son, it turns out, did art and math. Could do both. So anyway, so apparently there is a body of work around it, but I was not able to find it. What I was able to find is if you have a childhood brain injury, you're likely to be an alcoholic, mentally ill, and a lot of other bad things. So it's a miracle that I've turned out as well as I have. And I know you're all nodding. All thinking, yes, yes, yes. Anyway, so don't hit your kid upside the head with a baseball bat thinking that you'll make the next creative genius. It doesn't work. I don't think so. Anyway, but I did want to show you on that same track. So I did some Google searches, and I thought, well, let's talk about art versus science. And it turns out that Art versus Science is a band in Australia. And let's
you can get customized insurance and save money.
Come on, get off
with Liberty Mutual.
That's pretty funny. Here's the Australian band. I wonder what you're thinking out there in music land. They're not even playing music. Okay, enough of that. But the point is, no matter where you go down here, you go Art and Science, an Australian electronic band. Art and Science Facebook page. artandscience.net is all about this. Google used to have humility. They used to think maybe there's an alternative that this guy is looking for. Here's one article. Basically, it's all second album, Ticket Booth. All about, okay, there's one that's not, okay? But basically all about electronic dance and et cetera, et cetera. Now, just to show you for hoots, if you go over to DuckDuckGo, art, I did it wrong. It's supposed to do this. If you go Art versus Science, here, the second article, the fifth or sixth article, that article, a little bit of page, I'm not looking through hundreds like I did on Google. It brings them up first. They've co-opted a phrase that has been in the parlance for at least centuries. Anyway, and that just shows you what artificial intelligence can get you. Google used to be humble. They used to think, well, that could be a couple of things, and they'd give you some of each. Not so much anymore. Really, really bad. Okay, so I just want to make that point of there's your scientists who think they know what you want versus a little humility who are clear they don't know what you want. Oh, man, I'm out of time already. Having too much fun today. In the Mad Men era, marketing was viewed as a creative field. Over the last few years, these professionals have felt the impact of data-driven approaches, often stunting reality. And this is especially a problem in news where, they need to get clickbait. They need to make clickbait. They need to misinterpret quotes. They need to basically shoot the dog in order to get attention because someone else is gonna. And so it's driving us into this National Enquirer world where it's not about fake news, it's about fake headlines. And this is not new, of course. This is yellow journalism you've heard about for years. But the bottom line is data can be co-opted. and is being co-opted. And we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. I'm John Miglautsch. Subscribe on Periscope. That way you'll be in on this, and we'll have more comments and we'll have more